All right. All right. There we go. There we go. Looks like I'm looking pretty good. Let's back this up a little bit. Lower my face down. I have some little issues here to begin with. Getting the camera set up and whatnot. But welcome. Welcome this evening to The Fighting Carrier. I am your host, Deshaun Bradley. Branch 5 carrier here in the Nebraska area. Here, let's see here. Try to do something different with this camera. Face is still not quite where I want it to be at. How's that looking? I think that probably looks good. Let's take a look at it on the YouTube area. All right, that looks good. That looks good. Well, again, welcome to The Fighting Carrier. Again, my name is Deshaun Bradley. I'm your host here. And tonight, I am about to cook. I'm going to cook against this guy, Stephen Moore, who, when you read this article and hear about it, and hear about his background, you're gonna say to yourself, yeah, no wonder why. So, I'm going to cook on him. And, one thing about this show, it's interesting. Everything I do is live, so the mistakes I make are live. Everything, is just off the top of my head and whatnot. And even before I even come to do a live show, I have no clue as to what I'm going to say at all. I had no idea what I'm going to talk about. And then, when I started doing some research on different things, I see an article or two pop up, but okay, I'm talking about this tonight. And tonight, I'm definitely going to cook on this joker, who's a conservative economist, former Trump advisor. And wait until you hear about this article here that I'm about to go through with you right now. And I'm about to cook on this dude. And I'm going to also talk about how he had to resign from the Heritage Foundation because of some issues with that. Oh boy, I can't wait to get started on this. So with that said, I'm going to go right into it and talk to you about this Stephen Moore character here. Stephen Moore, he had an opinion piece in the Boston Herald, and his opinion piece is entitled "Free the Mail from the U.S. Government." Let me go ahead and pop this up on the screen here for you. And pop that up right there. All right. Well, hopefully everybody's able to see that on the screen there. Let me slide this over to the side because this is probably in the way. As is that. Let's lower that. So we'll just slide this over to the side and pop this in here. Boom, there it is. Boston Herald. And you see here Stephen Moore. When you slide down here to the bottom, who is Stephen Moore? Well, Stephen Moore is a former Trump senior economic advisor and the co-founder of Unleashed Prosperity. Okay, this is who we're talking about. If you don't know specifically what he looks like, should be a picture of him here. As you can see, he is that guy right there to the left. Right there with the red tie on. That is who Stephen Moore is. But let's get into this article here because I love how these people who are not in the post office, the only thing was going on, sure have a lot of opinions about the post office and whatnot. So let's get started with this. It says here, I'm going to skip down here. It tells about how people born before 1970 fond memories of the mailman, dropping off piles of letters and cards to the mailbox 6 days a week. But notice the second paragraph. It said, but those days are long past. Never have something important to say, such as I love you, I hate you, happy birthday. We text or email or hop on Instagram. Even most bills are paid electronically. So that malfunction is also close to being obsolete. Let me hop back on here. Let me hop back onto the screen here and turn this off. We'll turn this off so I can get back on here. Thank you very much. Sir, Stephen Moore, I deliver mail. Do you know how many graduation cards I deliver in the mail? Especially this time of year when kids are graduating. Do you know how many birthday cards I deliver to people on their route who have birthdays? Do you know how many Valentine's Day cards I deliver to people during that time of year? Sir, you have no idea the amount of cards that we send. You know, we send cards to people who have lost a loved one in death. People sending cards out to offer their condolences to people. Not everyone does everything electronically. Sending a happy birthday text is so impersonal. You know, it hits differently than actually getting something tangible in the hand, that card. Sir, we still deliver cards. We still deliver a number of things to people in the mail. You mentioned here at the beginning of the article, people born before 1970 have fond memories of the mailman. Do you realize that as postal carriers, we are the face of the post office? We are part of the community. We check on your people's elderly parents, especially as the kids are in different states over. The mailman is there to check on elderly ones. We do that. We're part of the community, sir. It's not just about delivering pieces of paper to a box. We are the face of the Postal Service. We are part of the community. We look out for the well-being of the elderly and the infirm. That's what we do, sir. Stephen Moore. See, I love how you people get on here and you just talk outside of your mouth. You have an opinion, but your opinion is so uninformed. It's more than just putting a piece of paper in a box. You know, we come there with a smile on our face, delivering kids, you know, birthday cards, graduation cards. Sorry about your loss. Congratulations on the birthday of a child. We send out and deliver wedding invitations to people in the mail. But they don't do that via text or Instagram. Say, hey, everybody go to my Instagram. I'm having a wedding. You're welcome to come to it. That doesn't happen. We deliver personal things to people on a day-to-day basis. And you talk too about even some bills. Most bills are paid electronically, so the mail function is close to being obsolete. But we don't care if most people pay their bills electronically. These companies still send out bills in the mail as reminders to people that have to pay them. You know, I deliver in a small town, and bi-monthly, this small town mails out water bills. And it's good for people to have those water bills, even if they do pay it electronically, to have something in hand that they can have, especially if you need to verify some information. Do you realize you have to have, when you apply for different loans or whatever, you have to have other identification marks? You got your picture ID, but you also need like a bill or two to show to someone in order to procure that loan or whatever it is you're trying to do. We have to do that. And you're talking about the mail function is close to being obsolete. Do you realize that if the mail becomes obsolete, you're opening up the American people and everyone else to scammers out there? How many times have we been warned that if a different company comes out with something, we will not contact you via text or email. We will contact you either by phone or we will send something to you in the mail. Do you think the IRS, when they send out certified letters or any type of letter, they're going to send an email to the person? Do you think they're going to call the person if from the IRS? Do you know how many times we deliver things to the IRS. There are times when, as parents are doing student loan applications, and they have to pull their tax information up into the form, what IRS will send a letter in the mail to say, hey, did you do this? Yes or no? Or there be some letter comes in the mail that says, oh, you owe some taxes here. Or we're going to send something in the mail that says, you haven't paid your taxes here. According to the law, we're going to garnish your wages in order to pay for this. See, without that post office function, Mr. Stephen Moore, you're going to open up all the United States to more scamming by scammers. Plus, now you can sit back and say, oh, well, we'll just send a text message out. No problem. I'm from the IRS. I need you to do X, Y, and Z in order to open this email, in order to get this information. See, you have no clue what you're talking about. You have no clue. So let's continue on with this. Let's get back into this article here. As you can tell, I'm fired up because I love it how people get on here who have no idea what they're talking about and just say whatever. The first thing that comes to their mouth. Let's continue. Let's go back to this article with the Boston Herald. Continuing on here. See, it goes on. Yet here we are, on our nation's 250th birthday, still hanging on the 19th and 20th century idea that the government should deliver mail, even though there's less and less of it every day. Really? Yeah, you carry my route. You see less and less of it every day. Do you realize the amount of political junk we get all the time? Every 2 years, every 4 years? But yet, according to you, volume is down. We deliver these ads for politicians, different bills they want to pass in the House. Vote yes on Prop 2, vote no on this. We all this stuff in them. Yet volume is down. Do you realize that on my route, Mr. Moore, that I average anywhere from 1,200 to 2,200 pieces of mail a day? And that's not including the parcels I have to deliver. No, I'm just talking about mail in general. I'm talking about the letters, the postcards, the graduation cards, the political mail, the bills that come out, the certifieds that we get from Progressive, Geico, State Farm, that if you are 2 minutes late paying the bill, they send a certified letter out the next day. You're talking outside both sides of your mouth. You have no idea what you're talking about. Talking about there's less and less of it every day. Mail volume is down. Perhaps it's down in some parts, but other parts is up. It's there. We have the volume, and we do it. And you're talking about here, and its total demise in 10 years is a near certainty as everything goes digital. Really? Everything's going digital? Again, like I said here, IRS, they're going to go digital? Are they going to send you a text saying, hey, we're going to garnish your wages? Are they going to give you a phone call and say, hey, we're going to garnish your wages? No. They're going to send out a certified letter or a regular letter to your house to say, we're garnishing your wages. And it's interesting, get back on screen here. It's interesting how you can predict 10 years into the future. You remind me of those people who predicted that global climate change, right? 10 years from now, New York is going to be underwater. Oh, yeah. 10 years from now, we're just going to be burning up. It's going to be so hot you can't even go outside. So I find it interesting how you're able to predict that in 10 years, everything's going to go digital and U.S. Postal Service market will shrink to near zero. Really? Really, dude? What do you think is going to happen 10 years from now? You just say whatever you want to say. Let's continue on with this article here. What he in his uninformed opinion. Let's continue. It says here the USPS can no longer meet its mandate of universal delivery. It can't pay its bills and services is increasingly unreliable. A new report by the Postal Regulatory Commission reports that over the past 20 years, the USPS has lost a gargantuan $120 billion. And that same report finds declining productivity of the workforce. Almost every industry except mail delivery has seen big leaps forward in cost cutting. You go in here and talk about how the USPS can no longer meet these mandate universal delivery. Really? We can't meet that as the only entity out there that's required to deliver to every single address in the United States, whether it makes money or not. How we cannot pick and choose what's profitable for us. We are mandated to go to every single house in the United States of America, every business. If you have a box, we are supposed to go there. We can't do that. There are new developments coming up all the time. We can't meet that. You know, it talks about here, you said the Steiner report finds declining productivity of the workforce. Well, blame this on management. For one, they don't hire enough carriers to do what we're supposed to do. They don't hire enough people. What the post office does right now, they try to squeeze as much as they can from a rock. And so you can only do so much before that rock breaks. So the post office is breaking the carriers. But you also talk about how over the past 20 years, the USPS has lost a gargantuan $120 billion. It's interesting how you talk about how the post office has lost all this money, right? We've lost all this money, but yet I don't hear much of a cry when the Department of War can continuously fail in their audits all the time. I got this article here. I'm not going to show it here, but you look it up. It's dated May 14th, 2026, and it's from the tradersunion.com. And the title of it is Department of War faces operational overhaul as audit failures persist. So it's interesting. You talk about how we lost $120 billion. Well, the Department of War has failed 8 audits and remains the only major federal agency never to receive a clean audit since 1990. Fiscal year 2025 financial statements received a disclaimer of opinion with ongoing issues involving more than $4.7 trillion in assets and $850 billion in unsupported accounting adjustments. So let me get this straight. The Department of War, $850 billion in unsupported accounting adjustments, compared to us, $120 million USPS. Where's your outcry more about the Department of War? What's the problem? How come that department is allowed to fail audit after audit, have $4.7 trillion in assets, $850 billion in unsupported accounting adjustments? Why is that allowed? What's your opinion piece about that? Now, I do like how it says here, a revised audit plan will consolidate reviews, involve a joint task force, and this is what the post office needs to do, and I would like for them to do this, hire an independent public accounting firm in order to go over the assets and debits of the debts of the USPS. That's what I really want the post office to do, to have an independent audit. But I ask you again, Mr. Moore, why is it that the Department of War can fail 8 audits in a row, $150 billion unsupported adjustments, and post office had $120 billion? Can you answer that for me, sir? I would love for a follow-up piece. Here it is in your article. You go back in your opinion. Let's go back here. See if we're back on here. Let's go back to the source. Here you go. Complaining here. It says, where will that $120 billion come from to cover these losses? Get ready for one of the world's largest taxpayer bailouts. Really? Really? Did you have a problem with the government bailing out the auto industry? Was that a problem for you? Did you have a problem? Did you have a problem here when the banks were bailed out? Was that a problem? When with the auto industry, you bailed them out. Was that a problem? What about the airline industry when they come in to bail out those people? Did you have a problem with that? See, I find it funny that you have a problem with if the government was to come bail us out. But what's the problem? The post office is in the Constitution under Article 1. It talks about postal roads, but those postal roads need to lead to a building, a post office. So there you go. We're in the Constitution. The auto industry is not there. The airlines are not there. Big banks are not in the Constitution. No listed there. So what's the problem? What's the problem with that? If we need that help. Your article goes on to say the very best financial scenario we can hope for is that postal management loses money at a slower pace, but that's a long shot given the recent trends. You say here the USPS has managed to lose money every year despite the cost of forever stamps rising to 78 cents, a 90% rise since 2017. You talk about how the USPS financial predicament is dire. We have a business with a catastrophic loss in market share, mounting financial losses, higher costs, and 535 members of Congress who bossed around and tell how to run mail delivery. And what's remarkable is that it racks up these operating deficits, even though it has been granted a legal monopoly by Congress in door-to-door letter delivery. And this is right here is what I want to highlight here. They're talking about 535 members of Congress who bossed around and tell it how to run the mail delivery. And that's the kicker right there. You want the post office to be removed from Article 1 protections. If the USPS was not under Article 1, we'd be under Article 2, and then your friend, your buddy in the administration, or any administration can just say, boom, we're going to shut down the post office. We're going to privatize it. We're under Article 2 now. Under the executive branch, I run it. I'm going to shut it down. Thankfully, we are under Article 1 to where we have 535 members who can look out for us, who we can work with. It's true. You know, the post office wants to tell us how to run it, how we do things. You know, and I do wish, I wish Congress would actually contact people like us, the carriers on the floor, to go up there to testify versus having just the bigwigs versus the PMG. And they really need to get a good assessment of what's happening. They need to get us on the workroom floor to be able to talk up there. But I can definitely tell you some issues with the post office. I mean, I'm not saying everything is peachy keen and hunky dory, because it's not. And there are some problems. But again, you're looking at the post office as a business. Okay, you said we have a business. You even mentioned here we have a business with a catastrophic loss in the market share. Sir, we're the United States Postal Service. We're not a business. All of you need to take that concept out of your heads. We are not a business. We are a service. Okay? We are obligated to serve the American people. Day by day, every door. We are supposed to serve the people. We are not a business. Society, you economic leaders, so-called experts, you all expect the post office to generate a profit. We are perhaps one of the only ones, if not the only, government entity that's required to make money. How does that make any sense for us to make money? So the government doesn't produce anything to earn money. Everything really should be tax dollars, but we're not paid by tax dollars. We're paid by selling goods and services. You know, no one has a problem. You know, Social Security people, they don't make a profit. People for the IRS, they don't make a profit. I mean, of course, they will go after, you know, little Mike's gyro shop over here. They go after him, make sure they get their money from him. but they don't generate revenue. The War Department doesn't generate revenue. The FBI, CIA, no, none of these guys generate revenue. And yet the post office, we're the ones that's supposed to do it. I mean, sure, you get your federal parks and things, and yeah, you guys can generate some profit because you can sell cups and T-shirts and other things there on site to earn a little bit of money. But you require the United States Postal Service, not business, service, to make money. We're not a business. Take that out of your vocabulary. I think all carriers need to, everyone who works at the post office, to let them know we are a service. We are not a business. We're not able to make a profit. We're supposed to break even. And we can do that in a number of ways within the post office that I'm not going to get into right now because I got into it in other shows before. But again, we are a service. And your problem is because you want to remove us from Article 1. You want to be under Article 2 so that, therefore, they can begin the process of privatizing the post office. And I'm going to go into why I think this, especially with you, because as this article continues, he says it's time to bring this 250-year experiment to an end. Let's get back to the article. As we're almost done with this part. He says it's time to bring this 250-year experiment to an end. He says the USPS should cease operations at some certain date, perhaps June 22nd, 2028. Wait, really? That's 2 years from now. Interesting how you want to end that in the last year of Trump's administration. He says should declare bankruptcy and immediately start selling off any profitable operations to businesses like Fedex. Fedex. Funny how you mention FedEx. Why would you mention FedEx in this article? Is it perhaps because our Postmaster General comes from FedEx? The CEO from there? Do you perhaps have stock in FedEx? I'd be interested to know that. Is this the plan that Steiner has? To try to privatize the post office, try to sell off things. Because it's interesting. I did a report yesterday on our Postmaster General who was talking about, well, he wants to shut down so-called unprofitable areas and slow down the mail to go to a couple days a week delivering. He wants to shut down areas, maybe sell them off or whatever. So are you two talking together? Is that the plan? Are you guys going to try to push for us to shut down by 2028 so we can sell things to FedEx? Is that what the plan is? See, you done told on yourself. You told on yourself here. You and Steiner. Y'all done told on yourself here. That's exactly what you want to do. You want to shut it down. You want to privatize it. You want to sell off businesses, these parts, to your billionaire buddies so that they can try to get a piece of the pie, so that they can try to profitize on everything. It's all about the mighty dollar with you people. Service. Who cares about the service? Who cares if the elderly people don't get their medicines? Who cares if the VA, whatever, they send pills out, no big deal. Get them when they get them. No problem. Don't care. You know, none of you care about the service. None of you care that we go door to door, drive door to door, and we look out for the elderly in our community. We can look at the box and say, this box has not been touched in about 3 or 4 days. Let me call so we can get a wellness check. Because usually Mrs. Smith checks the box every single day. Let's find out what's going on. Let's look at her house. Let's make sure she hasn't fallen down in the house. Do a wellness check. If you take the time to review some carrier heroes who've helped rescue people, who've warned people of fires in their house, who've gotten them out, who did wellness checks and was able to find people who had fallen on the ground. And because of the carrier knowing their people, was able to help them. See, it's more to this game than just making money. We are a service. We serve the American people here. Everything is not about the dollar. But I know you're an economist. You want the money. You want the money. That's all it is. You says mail delivery has to be a money losing proposition toward the end of this article. And again, we are a service, my guy. We are a service, Stephen Moore. And I love how it says here, you are a former senior economic advisor and co-founder of Unleashed Property. So, again, as I cooked on you here a little bit, Stephen Moore. Free the mail from U.S. government? No. Keep the mail right where it's at. We can do some other changes. If you want to do some changes, talk to a carrier. If someone sends this YouTube to you, reach out to me. I'll talk to you about some ideas, some fresh ideas that we can do. No, it's interesting how you went to this. You talked about how the post office can sell things, but you didn't talk about how the OIG mentions this report here that I talked about yesterday. I'm going to go back to it. It's funny how you didn't talk about this right here. You talk about selling things, but why didn't you talk about here expanding access to government services to the postal network? Why haven't you talked about this? There's a certain paragraph in here that I liked. Right here, the second paragraph. That I highlighted yesterday. I'm going to highlight it again today. This is the landscape for providing government services shifted significantly with the Postal Service Reform Act of 2022, which gave USPS the authority to partner with state, local, and tribal governments for non-commercial public services. Despite this legal green light, the Postal Service delivering for America's plan goal of becoming a nation's national government storefront, the organization has not yet established a formal strategy or initiated outreach to explore these new non-federal opportunities. Why aren't you talking about that? We can be a good force working with state and local governments in order to help out. It says here, the OIG discussion with state and federal officials highlight the untapped potential of new government partnerships, particularly in rural and underserved areas where the post office often serves as primary civic hub. Potential growth is evident in providing in-person identity verification for social benefit programs like SNAP or Medicaid, streamlining high insurance biometric services, fingerprinting, things of that nature. We could also become digital access points by hosting DMV or IRS kiosks in service deserts, where residents are currently travel long distances for simple renewals or tax assistance. Additionally, USPS could lease rooftop space for 5G and broadband infrastructure to help bridge the digital divide in the thousands of undeserved counties it already serves. You see, you didn't talk about doing these things. No, your thing was sell everything. Sell it, sell it, sell it. I like here too. You know, as employees from the United States Postal Service, why don't you use us with regards to disaster relief and FEMA? You know, we're there in the neighborhoods on a day-to-day basis. You know, in the event of a disaster, we can be the front line. You can train us in the FEMA organization or whatever, so we can take an audit, an assessment of our particular area, and give a full report to the government for both state and federal, so they best know how to use the resources with that. Or you can also use us as delivery people to deliver supplies to people on our routes. Yes, it's going to take more time to do that. Things are going to be delayed with mail and stuff, and after a disaster, that's fine. All of us can live with that. I can live with that in a disaster. But if I can put some goods and services, some water, some food, some clothing, dry clothing or whatever, towels and other things. If I can carry that out to my street, see a homeowner there, say, hey, I got some stuff for you here. This is from the federal government for you and your family here. Just a little kit right here for you and your family. Here you go. It's kind of like what we did with the COVID pandemic, where everyone ordered test kits. You signed up for it, boom. And once you signed up for it, you got it delivered a couple days later. The COVID test, all these kits and things. We can do the same thing. You can have the American people sign up on a FEMA list for if a disaster hits or whatever. It's automatically there, and that list stays up to date within the federal government. Boom. When a disaster happens in that area, who's ever on that list in that particular area, boom, you're already on the list. And this will help people, especially people who for some reason, if they can't get to where those resources are at, where there are long lines and people got to wait, things of that nature. We can be out there helping, delivering these things to people, moving stuff around if possible. Why not? There's so many things, but Stephen Moore, sell everything. Sell everything, fire the carriers, fire everybody, to sell it, so FedEx can get a piece of it, so they can make more money. That's what they want to do, make more money. But with regard to that, now I'm going to go into this article here because Stephen Moore, I had to do a little look up on you, a little backup research on you. Did you know that Stephen Moore, he had to quit the Heritage Foundation? Yeah, he had to quit the Heritage Foundation due to controversy over Tucker Carlson's Nick Fuentes interview. This is from the New York Post. Let's go into this, Stephen Moore. See, you mentioned that. Let's go into this. Let's take a look at this article. Yeah. Mr. Stephen Moore. Let's go down to this. Former economic advisor Stephen Moore resigned from the Conservative Heritage Foundation on Thursday amid fierce backlash and pressure from donors over think tank President Kevin Roberts' defense of Tucker Carlson platforming white nationalist Nick Fuentes. He had to resign because we know, if anybody knows Nick Fuentes, he is definitely a white nationalist. He says Moore served more than a decade as fellow at one of the largest right-of-center think tanks in Washington, D.C., yet didn't reference the internal revolt over Roberts' embrace of Carlson or subsequent apology for his choice words. Those sources told the Post the Economist was facing pressure to depart. They had to get rid of him. And that's your character right there. That's your character. You see the Post office as a problem, but didn't see this as a problem? So he says here, after 12 happy and productive years, I decided to resign my position as senior visiting fellow at the Heritage Foundation in order to concentrate my workload on continuing to build up your commitment to unleash prosperity. So that's your business there. He then quoted Robert's predecessor as Heritage boss, as Ed Foner would say, onward. The Committee to Unleash Prosperity co-founder has been asked by donors to the group to leave Heritage. So even they asked you to leave. See, even your donors have more integrity than you. Your wife had also proclaimed in a since-deleted tweet that Roberts didn't deserve a second chance, that her husband would be submitting his resignation. And then, of course, she took down the account, She says when you fail to do the right thing in the first place from such a place of privilege, you don't get a second chance. And Moore wrote a little after 8 a.m. Thursday in response to a post from the former View co-host Meghan McCain. My husband will be submitting his resignation after 12 meaningful years at Heritage. Moore, a senior economic advisor to President Trump's 2016 campaign and key architect of his 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, declined to comment further. No integrity. No integrity. Let's see here. That's not important right there. Moore's departure comes after leaders of Heritage Anti-Semitism Task Force, including one of its co-founders, Luke Moon, cut ties with the think tank and issued a list of requests to Roberts before they would agree to move forward together again. The Heritage Foundation. Looks like y'all got some issues there. Anti-Semitism there? Well, we all know Nick Fuentes. He is that. And so that's you, Mr. Moore. That is you. No integrity. You allow this to take place. You have to resign. You're forced to resign. Your donors who have more integrity than you got you out of there. And yet you had the audacity to sit here and try to criticize the post office right now. And I'm sorry, I have someone trying to call me right now as I am shooting live right now, and it's on my thing right now. So I apologize. I should have called my Facebook, but it's Facebook Messenger right now. And this guy who's running for office at the post office is trying to get with me. But I am doing this. So let me turn this down. I do apologize for that. Caught me in the middle of my cooking, man. I don't like that. But that's all right though. So, as I said here with Mr. Moore, here, you know what you're talking about. Let the post office do what we got to do. And let me just mute that desktop audio. Let me just do that. There we go. Okay. All right. Sounds good. So anyway, yes, Mr. Moore, you don't know what you're talking about. You just want to say anything because you're a conservative. You want to shut the post office down. You want to get your grubby hands in it. You and Steiner are working together, so more money can go to Fedex. I would like to really see your portfolio, what you got in there. Okay. But yeah, I just want to talk about that today. Like I said, we're going to continue our fight against people who don't know anything about the post office. Really, they need to get people like us, carriers, to talk to Congress, to get this message out there, and to remind the American people that we are a service. We're not a business. So that's all I got this evening. But Mr. Moore, yeah, I hope you hear this. Hope somebody sends this to you. Of course, you're gonna know more on the economics front than I will, and that's fine because that's your area of expertise. My area of expertise is the mail delivery. That's what I do. That's what I know best. And so you need to sit here and talk with us. We really do need to do that. So, but this is Deshaun Bradley. Please join us. Please sign up on my Facebook page, my Facebook group, The Fighting Carrier. You can find me there with regard to just more information about helping us fight against our poor leadership with Renfro, fight against idiotic postal issues, postal policies, and to fight against people like this who don't know anything. The post office really needs people like me who loves to carry your craft, who just loves their job. They need people who's going to do what's best from a service perspective. Okay, and that's what they really need from us. So thank you all again. This is Deshaun Bradley from the Fighting Carrier, signing off right now.